And we talked about Smoke, told Stack to tell, Mary to get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Or he sent Stack to go, they went and tried to do another life together. You know what I'm saying? They were separate for a while, realized that wasn't working. You know what I mean? And then had to come back together.
Were you talking about the brothers were separate for a while?
The brothers, yeah, were separate for a minute.
I did not know that.
I gotta go back to that spreadsheet. Listen, 3.
Can you pull it up?
I could actually, it's here.
You're watching and listening to In Proximity. I'm Paola Mardo, and today I'm talking to Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler. It's a big day on the podcast, and these two need no introduction. But for the sake of an episode intro, Ryan Coogler is the writer, director, and producer of Sinners, which stars Michael B. Jordan as the Smokestack Twins. Longtime listeners of In Proximity know that our very first episode featured Michael and Ryan, so I'm very excited to welcome them back on the show and super honored to be joining them in conversation about their work on this film. Also, if you listen to the podcast but want to see these two in the flesh, check out the video version of our show on YouTube. Our podcast is, of course, In Proximity, and our YouTube channel is called Proximity Media. We'll also link to resources and other episodes mentioned in this conversation in the show notes or description below. It's a special episode for us, so we wanted to kick things off a little differently. Ryan, for those who don't know, is a coffee connoisseur of sorts, so we brought in an espresso machine into the studio and he made us some coffee, lattes to be exact. We talked about how Ryan got into coffee and coffee making specifically, how that influenced Michael in his espresso life journey, and how it all ties back to film. Then we dive deep into Sinners and specifically getting into the nuances of Smoke and Stack. Michael, as you know, played not one, but 2 roles, so he gets deep into his acting process on this episode. He talks about things like key phrases, how he built the characters and used journals to really create their backstories, and how Ryan, as the writer-director, brought these characters to life on the page and the screen, and the timeline he created for his actors, including Michael, to learn a lot more about who these characters were before the movie even begins. Finally, we get into some lore behind the Smokestack Twins, how they came up, the romances with Mary and Annie, and what happened in Chicago with Al Capone. Trust me when I say it's gonna be a real ring-a-ding-ding, so grab your cup of coffee and join me in my conversation with Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler.
So, brought these from home, brother.
Red Bay coffee?
Yeah, I'm like a sommelier. You know what I mean?
Where was that roast from? Where the beans from?
Allegedly, Colombia, and Kenya.
Nice
And notes passion fruit, brown sugar, toffee, little espresso. We gonna pop the shield.
Let's do that.
Well, before you go and start, I want to say welcome. Welcome to In Proximity, Ryan Coogler, my boss, and Michael B. Jordan. Glad to have you guys back on the show. You guys were in episode 1 of this podcast and talking about actually how you first met at a coffee shop. And now here we are.
Full circle.
Yeah.
Full circle. We brought the coffee shop to the studio. Ryan, for our listeners who do not see what we see here, can you talk a little bit about what's in front of us and what are you about to do today?
Yeah, so I got in my hand, I got a espresso roast from Red Bay Coffee out of Oakland. Brought this down from the Bay. In front of me is a La Marzocco Linnea Mini.
Espresso machine.
Espresso machine.
Yeah, that's fancy right there.
This one goes on the road with me when I'm out of town working. So this was in New Orleans with us when we did Sinners. I would make coffee drinks for Cash and crew when they come to the office. So it's been in storage in LA for a little bit. I think it's gonna move to this office maybe.
Probably right here.
Yeah, maybe here. Yeah, I'm about to make some coffee for y'all. I'm a little rusty, so don't judge.
Hey man, go for it. It's all good.
Don't judge my latte art. But yeah, come on, am I good to?
Good to go.
Okay.
Judgment-free zone.
You my boss today. You directing this.
What?
So whatever you
Take advantage.
whatever you want. I'm gonna get this in the grinder.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, walk us through.
Hold back.
Have you had coffee by Ryan before on set or anything like that? Or
I have. He's actually the reason why I'm slightly into this espresso life.
Okay.
Yeah, I think My first real espresso made by him was on that machine right there in New Orleans in his office.
Oh, wow, for Sinners?
For Sinners, yep.
Okay.
And he was breaking it down, similar to what he's doing right now. Got the weight scale. When he pulled out the scale, that's when I knew it was serious business.
Right.
And he was down to the...
Right. And the machine. I mean, this is a whole industrial grade.
Big time.
Industrial grade is crazy.
No, it is. That's industrial commercials, you know what I'm saying? Restaurant quality.
Hey, it's about to be loud. Industrial grade is crazy. It's for at home.
Coffee truck.
Yeah, at home. It's the at home model.
But when we working crazy hours, you know, a hit of the espresso definitely, it goes a long way.
Brings you to life.
Big time. We were shooting a lot of nights. You know, coffee was our friend.
Yeah.
I like it because it's nice to do a little act of service for the cast and for the crew. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, can you talk a little bit about that? Because you told me you did not drink coffee growing up. What was your first introduction to coffee, and how do you end up wanting to make coffee?
Yeah, my first true introduction to coffee was at the Cannes Film Festival in 2009. So I was like early 20s. You know, I think I actually turned 23 at that festival. And before then, like, I didn't think of coffee as something I was for me. Like, it was something for like older people or you know, like the girls drank it. Like the girls drink it, you know what I mean? They'll drink like a you know, Frappuccino from 7-Eleven or whatever, or you know what I mean? But yeah, bro, like I even had a homie, I was telling Paula, I had a homie who used to drink it while we played football. We would make fun of him, we call him a grandpa. Like he'd come in the locker room with a thermos and he'd be like, man, this dude tripping. But after that film festival, bro, like I was jet lagged out there, and they had a big sponsorship with George Clooney at the festival. So I was seeing George Clooney drink it all the time on the little commercials and pictures, and I was like jet lagged, falling asleep in screenings. So I said, man, let me try it, bro. They had a free station in what they call like the Palais, where everybody, it's like the Grand Central Station, the junction for the festival.
Right.
Went in there and ordered the strongest one they had on the menu, and I've been hooked ever since.
Said, give me that one.
Man.
I like how your coffee story is film related too. Like you had coffee for the first time at a film festival.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's totally tied to it. And then, you know, it's coffee culture on a film set, right, Mike? Like
big time.
The camera crew usually is where the real coffee heads is at. They usually got someone on their truck.
Camera crew, really?
Yeah. They got the secret stash on their truck. They coming in with the special drip.
Oh,
you know
wow.
what I mean? And drip coffee.
And our stillest photographer on Sinners, who you know, real close with Mike, did Creed 3 and
boy Eli.
Kind of Forever. Like they super he's super into it. Like he used to have a cafe, but they'll have a machine on the truck.
Wow.
Yeah, we take coffee, take it seriously now. Look at that pour.
You know, it was me and Mike. Y'all stop it, man.
For listeners, he's pouring the milk, creating some kind of latte art.
I'll tell y'all.
Some personalized, I don't know what that is in there.
It's a face of.
I told y'all I was rusty, man. This latte art is subpar. But
it's abstract.
It's like Jackson Pollock.
He goes to Pollock shit.
Here you go.
Thank you very much.
It's right here for you, brother.
Fresh.
I mean,
Cheers, cheers, cheers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's nice.
How we do?
Muy bueno.
All right, bet.
Oh man, coffee's really good.
Well, cheers to that. Thank you, Ryan, for this coffee. It's
you're welcome. Thanks for letting me make it for y'all.
Yeah, the first thing that came to mind is like something you said earlier was like, which not to speak for you or whatever, but like the acts of service. You know, like doing things for people that you care about. You know what I'm saying? Like your family that when you're on set and cast and crew and there's something intimate about that. You know, like for me it's cooking. Like I love cooking. You know, like and cooking for people, seeing them enjoy the food or you know having them try something that they maybe they said they didn't like or they didn't, they never had before. And just having that shared experience, like one of those universal love languages, something that I found to be, really, really helpful, especially on set.
Do you cook for people on set?
We had Jamie Lawson actually we had like a semi-game night.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And first of all, I'm on a group, they had a group chat going.
Yeah.
I found out about it.
Yeah.
I found out about it later and shit. I was like, Mike's busy. He ain't never gonna show up. Let's not even worry about it. So they ended up, they let me in on the group chat, which is
good.
Yeah. Y'all know who y'all are. but anyway, me and Jamie ended up cooking. You know what I'm saying? Like we had brought food over, but we ended up cooking for everybody and whatnot. But there is that feeling of having a family meal. You do like cast dinners, like cast table reads and stuff in the beginning to kind of set the tone. But whenever the cast can kind of get together on their own outside of those those set times and start bonding, it usually means that you're gonna have chemistry and a vibe on set that's like second to none and really helpful for the project. So like the idea of making coffee, there's a certain ritual to it. That's like there's steps, there's process. Like you said, it takes time. You got to be hands-on with it. So it's a similar feeling for me with cooking, but understand that what that does for the community, for the people you care about, is pretty good.
Love that.
Yeah. When it comes to the actors, like as a director, that's who you're really there for. You know what I mean? You really are, once you're gone, you really the only person that's there for them. And what it's nice for me to be able to, because these people about to give me everything for a few months, you know what I mean? Like they bodies, they minds, their emotions, So for me, it's nice to just do something for them that's just for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like make them a cup of coffee, make sure it's nice and hot and freshly made, you know what I mean? Right there for them to kind of set the tone.
Goes back to what you're saying about acts of service and just like kind of a family vibe. When you guys are in the trenches with each other, it's nice to have sort of like that personal connection. Why not share over a cup of coffee or a meal? I feel like you guys could open a restaurant at some point. If this doesn't work out, I'm just saying.
Should be like the beer.
Just saying.
Chef. Yes, chef. Yes, chef. Yeah.
So we have your coffees. Thank you very much. We have your cozy seat right here.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Sinners and you guys. But first, I want to take it back to the first episode you guys did with us on this show. You were in post-production on Creed 3. Ryan and I met you in like some theater where you guys were editing the film. And you guys sat down for a conversation and talked about how you guys met at a Starbucks and decided to work with each other, among other things. But specifically about that conversation, you talked about how you had never been number one on the call sheet before.
Yes.
So I want to play a clip from that part of the conversation.
Okay.
And ask you a little bit about that. So one sec.
That's funny.
Here we go.
And then there was this thirst and this want to be a leading man. I didn't know if I was a leading man or not.
I remember that. I remember asking you that in that meeting because I imagined in my own naivety, there's a film that you had done, you were the lead, or a short film, and you were like, "Yeah, I've never been number one on a call sheet before." I was like, I don't even really know the call sheets were numbered at the time, you know. And then it was a show, I think a pilot you were getting ready for, and I was like, "Well, are you the lead in that?" And you was like, "Well, no, that's kind of an ensemble piece too." And I remember thinking in my head, "This is crazy." Like, like obviously this guy is really talented. I didn't know how to feel about that. It was a part of me where I was like really excited that I wasn't gonna be working with somebody who been there, done that.
Yeah. You know what you said to me? You said, "Hey man, look, I wrote this for you. I believe you're a star. I know you're a star. Let's go show the world."
That's crazy.
And it was coming off the heels of this leading man conversation that we had.
Wow.
And not feeling like I've never been number one on the call sheet. You were like, "Hey man, look." And I don't know if that was director, cool coming through and just giving me the gem that I needed in that moment. You know what I'm saying? Because who would have known? But I carried that with me because I was like, man, this dude who just met me believed that I was a star and then believed I could do it. And that was the agenda. That was the goal to go do that. Obviously, with everything else around the movie as well.
Yeah.
But that's something that kind of stuck with me moving forward of like, yeah, I am. And I could do that too. And we continue to do that.
You totally.
So on Sinners, you were number 1A and 1B, I believe, on the call sheet as Smokestack. I have seen it.
I have seen it.
Yeah, what's it like to hear that?
Man, perspective. I mean, I think since then I've been on a few call sheets, and I think it's in hindsight something that didn't matter. You know, like I think, you know, in the moment it was so important to you, you needed it so bad, some type of validation, you know, on my journey. So I think it was necessary at the time, you know, for ambition, for like me growing. But just for me, my perspective of listening to it now, it's I'm like, let's go get the work done. That shit don't matter.
Yeah. It's not about the hierarchy, right? It's like you set goals for yourself and like, yeah, you're 1A and 1B on the call sheet now. I mean, what can't you do? But it's really cool to see sort of how you guys have grown since that first film, FRUITVALE Station, and even since that first podcast conversation.
Yeah.
Ryan, do you have any thoughts about hearing that conversation you guys had? That was about 3-ish years ago, almost 4.
I think Mike just summed it up. I think, it's interesting, but it's always nice to have perspective, you know, where you were, your mindset, you know, before. So much of our work is like what's happening next, you know. It's interesting. We sounded young too.
Big time.
Yeah. It sounded like a lot happened since even recording that. Yeah.
And it's like number one on the call sheet really like used to symbolize or should symbolize like leadership. You know, and like and what that means to the rest of the cast and crew. You can't just talk a big game. You can get number one on the call sheet and like show up to work and not be a good guy, you know, or not treat everybody on set the right type of way, or not encourage community and like hard work, you know what I'm saying, and ego. Yeah. And all of a sudden that number one on the call sheet don't mean nothing, you know. But if you're able to act like, you know what I'm saying, or present yourself of leadership, you know, in a real way, I think that's the key, because that's what that's really supposed to mean. Number one on the call sheet is supposed to mean like you a captain, it's the head coach, you know what I'm saying, as a director, and then the number one on the call sheet is supposed to be like that coach on the field, you know what I'm saying, and that's kind of how I look at it.
I think Mike on a set has a mentality of somebody who's been at the quote unquote bottom, you know. Like knows what it's like to be a day player, knows what it's like to be somewhere in between, you know, and for, you know, at that point when we met at that Starbucks, you've been working for how long, bro?
Like 15 years maybe.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he got a 15-year experience of not being that and knowing what it's like when the person that is in that position is kind, is thoughtful, you know, like, and so I think that kind of shaped him to be in a situation where it's a tone that's set from any movie where he's the lead, where it's going to be a tone of kindness, respect, hard work, and just treating folks like human beings, you know, because a lot of people got their hands on movies, you know. You see the directed by, you see the produced by, the studio, and somebody's face on the poster, what have you, but every time a movie's made, it's hundreds, you know, sometimes many hundreds. Like in the case of
high post
centers, like international,
right?
All types of artists, professionals with their hands on the movie, you know, and with somebody can establish such a kind and respectful way of working for the process, for you know, it trickles down in a way that's great. People not only give you their best work, they want to give you their best work, you know.
I hear that.
Yeah,
I like that. Game night is one thing that you do, I guess. Set the tone.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Sinners. When you first got the script and read it, what questions did you have for Ryan? And what did you really want to get right about playing Smokestack?
I think the first questions that I had was maybe a little bit around the twins' backstory. There's a lot of questions of like what their life was like before page one, and that's the juiciness. That's the stuff that I really I'm excited to dive into and figure out, because I know that's going to shape all the little micro decisions and choices and of these characters throughout the whole film. You know, I think the surreal montage was something that I read on the page that I was like kind of like, you know,
Did
asking
you see
questions.
it?
I'm a super imaginative person, and love things like that, like those surreal. I love that in film, I could picture it, but it's always when I get a script from Ryan is reading it, and then it's almost like a game for me to try to figure out what he meant in certain situations. You know what I mean? Like, what you mean by this? Or like, what is that? Were you trying to do this? Like, what were you trying to do over here? Or what, So that is always a nice little like, inner puzzle that comes along with a Coogler movie, with a Coogler script. Yeah, and it's always like for me, seeing how close I am to his instincts without him giving me a lot.
Right.
And then once we start unpacking it, diving into it, getting real specific, sometimes it's like, oh, I wasn't even looking at it like that, but that's a perspective, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, okay, that wasn't what I was trying to do or say, but that's cool, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's figure out how to, weave that in if it comes to that, or...
This is when you guys talk about it, like at a rehearsal or
on
set,
just from the time I read it to, as we're actively shooting it, it's always some type of like discovery of things, which is us always like trying to get everything we can out of every moment, you know what I'm saying?
I love that because specifically for this film, like the fans, let's say that, they picked up on so many details. And I feel like they were craving to hear more backstory. But going back to what you were saying about like the puzzle.
The puzzles?
Yeah, like can you name like a scene or a character thing that...
Yeah, well like, when Stack and Mary are talking at the train station, all right, when he's talking to her about X, Y, and Z, like, okay, her mom just died. Okay, so what age did they separate? Did he send her? Where exactly did he send her to? And for what reason? Oh, okay. Mary's mom was basically like their mom. Oh, okay, got it. Okay, so their dynamic was like, Smoke and Stack wasn't really supposed to have Stack wasn't supposed to have any type of like romance or some type of like, that wasn't supposed to develop like that, but it just happened to develop like that. And Smoke always looked at it like, forbidden. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't like that, or that wasn't a good situation. So things like that and those little nuances helped me play Smoke and Stack. Where Smoke's with Mary, where is that coming from? It's not like you did my brother wrong, or you betrayed him, or you betrayed my trust. No, it's not even that. He's making a choice for the future. He's making a choice for like future stability and safety. He's trying to be a protector. He's trying to protect himself from for what he might have to do.
Yeah.
In the future. Yeah. And that gave me a lens to look through Smoke as in all situations, and also Stack, the selfishness that he normally would have. Like, all right, I'm gonna put everybody in peril or in a dangerous situation because this is what I want and this is what I need to have for me. And then ultimately coming down to it of like, man, I can't do that, so let me do the hard thing. Let me lie, let me procrastinate, let me manipulate. You know what I'm saying? As much as I can to appeal my brother, but then also, what I know is, is true too. So there's something I can't have.
Smoke is, and I think I've heard you say this, Ryan, Smoke is like the doer and Stack is like the dreamer. I mean, they both had traumatic childhood, right? Smoke killed their father to save Stack. Smoke lost his daughter. And that had a big impact on his life as well. And then Stack had this forbidden relationship with this mixed race woman. I read the script as well, because I work here. But also, when I watched the movie, I felt like I knew all that, even though I didn't see any of that.
Okay.
And a lot of that was script, but a lot of that was also your performance. So, what were those conversations like between you guys, building that backstory? And can you share some of the lore, whether about the relationships, how they grew up, or what happened in Chicago?
Yeah. For me, working on a script as a writer, it was a lot of math happening. Like just figuring out how old these guys were. That was the thing, and it's interesting, right? Because with actors, a lot of times, like actors, especially like movie stars that we know, a quality of them is like they kind of can be ageless. Like if I was to ask somebody to guess how old Delroy is, or like if he was to guess how old, pick the actor that you've been seeing in a long time, it becomes hard to place them, and you realize it was kind of always hard to place them. Like, you know what I mean? Like when Delroy was 40, he was hard to place how old he was. You know what I mean? Like and so Mike, Hailee, Wunmi, they can play they can play like a standard deviation of like 10, 15 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, and for me, it was like, man, how old are these guys, like specifically? And I didn't want to think about like how old Mike is, you know. It's more how what makes the most sense for the story. And I knew that the movie would have to be somewhere around the 30s, you know, because that's kind of the era of blues music I was interested in. And then I knew that these guys, you know, would be World War I veterans, you know, and so World War I happened at a specific time. You know, in the U.S., the U.S.'s entry into the war was also in like a very tight amount of time, and because they were black, you know, it was a few like all black regiments that you know, like so it became like, well, how old were they when, you know? So you kind of work backwards and forwards at the same time, and try to make some decisions based off of the dynamics as a writer. So then when Mike and the other actors came to town, I wanted to have enough specifics to like, because your worst nightmare is to be asked a question and you don't know the answer.
Yeah.
As a director.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm a writer-director, right?
Right.
So if I hadn't written the script and they asked me a question like that, I could turn to the writer and say, hey, what's up? You know?
Yes.
But also sometimes it's okay to like, you know, you learn through experience, but sometimes it's okay to say, I hadn't thought about that yet. Like that'll give you a lot of, you know, a lot of room versus like making some up on the spot or you know, like, but yeah, like you remember I had the spreadsheet. Yeah, I made it.
Big time. Yep. Timeline.
So I made a little spreadsheet for Mike to show him like where they were and what happened and
oh wow.
And how it went down and like the big thing for me was you know, and Mike really interpreted this like through his performance. Who did what for the other person was really like in many ways kind of like what defined their actions, like that you see in the movie. And Mike kind of like, I mean when Mike would come to me with ideas, and that was when I knew it was like, all right, man, it's in this dude's hands now as an artist. But I remember when we were trying to figure out the hairstyle, and Mike was kind of like, hey, you know, I think Stack does Smoke's hair, you know, because I don't know if Smoke cares enough like about what's fashionable or if he should have a part or, you know what I mean? Like, and then I was like, oh, that's like a brilliant idea, you know, like which would explain why they essentially had the same hairstyle, you know, and it is a fashionable one, you know what I'm saying? It is one that you don't see everybody else with in Mississippi. So it's like, oh, like Stack's like a style guy. He's like cutting edge. So if you watch Mike's performance, and it's not even something we talked about, but Stack is constantly adjusting his own clothes, like constantly. Like, you know, he's constantly fixing his suit and making sure everything's right and adjusting his hat and you know, you never see Smoke touch his clothes. You know, like Smoke is just, he doesn't care. You know, you know, so you know that part was you know that part for me was really interesting. And it's a choice that you know it kind of reverberates. You know what I mean? And even like with the shaky hands, like we wrote that in, but you know you had to like, how did you do that, bro?
The tremors and shit. Yeah, we like playing around with a wrist versus like if it's coming from your elbow. You know, like where exactly the tremors coming from, you know, like and we talked to D-Lo.
Yeah.
A lot.
No, D-Lo works here.
Our D-Lo, your D-Lo. Okay,
So the idea for the tremors came from knowing D-Lo. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk. This is D'Angelo Lewis.
Yeah.
He's been on the pod. He's proximity fam as well.
Yeah.
Which character are you talking about, and what?
Oh, we're talking about Smoke, and we're talking about his hand tremors.
Okay.
And D-Lo, he had experienced those before, so he was somebody I had talked through, just kind of figure out like, you know, like how often would you have them, or like, you know, something that you notice personally, or is it something that's like, you know, so involuntary that you don't even know is happening. You know what I'm saying? And that just changed how, you know, cognizant and aware Smoke was in certain situations of when it's high stress.
Yeah.
So, you know, coming from the war,
Yes.
You know, and being in those trenches and what they experienced and what they seen and what they escaped and been through, you know, he would have some PTSD in a certain type of way. So, you know, when Grace is, you know, going off on him, you know, a little bit, you know, in the juke, and, you know, questioning him being a soldier and, you know, and his you know, him being a protector and just questioning everything he is, you know, it's a moment where he trying to hold that together. You know what I'm saying? So we kind of show the tremors a bit there. And then obviously at the end when it's like high stress for him, but you always see him kind of flexing his hands every so often, you know, checking. He's like a guy that's on time. He likes timely things. You know, he wants things to run smoothly. So he's constantly checking his watch and trying to like hide the tremors a little bit sometimes with his hands.
You played 2 roles, twins, for one film. And so it's these little nuances and differences in your performance that were so interesting that people picked up on, but also some of them were so subtle, just like this. Like, I feel like I'm gonna have to watch the movie again to really look at this. But can you talk about the preparation for that? You wrote, I have my notebook here, but you got journals, right?
I do.
So can you talk about how you use journals in your process? And
yeah, journals for me is like, it's really just going back to the earliest memory to the page 1 of the script. And it's really defining, you know, who these guys are, you know, who they are when nobody's looking, when nobody's around, how they think, how they look at certain things. So I'll write, you know, things down from things that me and Ryan talked about, like mutually agreed things, like things that happen throughout their lives. Then it's like a day in the life of, like, what do you do today? Yeah. You know, what was it like when they were in Chicago going on this run? Yeah. You know, and imagining this type of like, you know, he had to put a hit on somebody. You know, how would they move in a certain you know, environment? You know, what was an interaction between Smoke and Stack that allowed them to, you know, get into trouble or get out of it? You know, like little things like that. I would just imagine and play around with it and start writing things down. And then as I start to find out more information around, you know, Mary or Annie, I would incorporate those things into it, and then I'll play around with, you know, what was it like, you know, when he found out he was going to be a dad? You know, probably one of the scariest and happiest days, you know what I'm saying, of a lot of pain throughout his life. Yep. And then, oh man, you know, consequences. What does that mean? What does that mean for my brother? What does that mean for our lives moving forward? Dang, is Andy gonna want this out of me? Is there an expectation for that? Now I gotta tell my brother this. I gotta tell.
So you wrote all this out?
Yeah, these are things these are like different
for
like
each
threads.
Of them.
Yeah, and that really just helped me always have a base of where I'm coming from, you know, or, you know, and we talked about Smoke, you know, told Stack to tell, you know, Mary to get out of here, you know what I'm saying? Or he sent Stack to go, they went and tried to do another life together, you know what I'm saying? They were separate for a while, realized that wasn't working, you know what I mean? And then had to come back together. So it was like all those little nuances, like the
Were you talking about the brothers were separate for a while?
The brothers, yeah, were separate for a minute.
I did not know that. Wait, at what point in their lives did they?
It's a man, I gotta go back to that spreadsheet. It's a 3.
Can you pull it up?
I could actually, it's here. But it was they killed their father. Hid out at Mary's mom's place.
Correct.
Then went to New York and joined the military. Went to fight in France, came back, and they went back home for a little bit. While they were at home, was when they came back and Mary was older. So that was when Stack and Mary happened.
And seeing her in a different light, like, oh man, this
like,
little girl died.
Yeah, after war.
Sparks flew.
And then that was when, you know, cause like she was like a younger sister to them. So that, you know, like Smoke and Mary's mom didn't love that. It was like a 3-year run where the twins had basically broke up. Like where Smoke and Annie got their house and Stack and Mary went to Little Rock. Wow. And when they lost their daughter was when things got rocky. And then that was where they both basically left their partners and met up again and went to Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then from there coming back, and then that's when you see them coming back is at the beginning of our story.
Wow. Okay, this is lore. This is what the young people call lore. But wait, I gotta ask about Chicago, because they talk about it so much.
Yeah.
Did you guys figure that out? Did they meet Capone? How did they get the Irish beer, Italian wine situation?
Yeah, I mean, we're basically, that's a little loose, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of that stuff. But the key things from that experience for me, for Smokestack was, you know, they were doing jobs because they were doing jobs that Capone didn't want to do themselves because they would know it was from Capone. But if I use these guys from out of town and they twins, you know what I'm saying? It's like a peculiar thing. Then nobody's gonna trace it back to him. So amongst that, they started to figure out who the major players were. You know, Italians, you know, the Hans, this, that. You hear them talking through the different types of gangsters that was running Chicago, and they figured out how to take advantage of the situation and get out of here and go start our own shit. You know what I'm saying? And nobody's gonna think it's them. They gonna think it's each other.
Wow.
Basically, they had them fighting themselves. So that was kind of a little bit of that. So that I used to kind of like root that conversation with Mary and Stack. And then them amongst each other, and then when they're talking to Sammy, you know what I'm saying, and giving him some game on what the world's like outside of, you know what I'm saying, Mississippi, and trying to keep him on the straight and narrow, you know, as much as we can, while Stack's giving him a little bit, like, you know, more big brother, uncle energy, like, you know what I'm saying?
Life advice.
Yeah. So like, Stack's like the true uncle, and then like Smoke's like the dad, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Out of every group.
Or Daniel like a grandpa.
The grandpa, yeah, he the old man, you know. So that's how we played that also.
That was the most impressive thing about the performance for me, from Mike's standpoint, is like how much older Smoke feels than Stack. Cause like Smoke felt like, even in person, like he felt like an old man. You know what I mean? Like whereas Stack in person felt like a young man. Like even on set when we would cut the camera, like Mike just had like this old, been there, done that, like stressed out energy that like only like a elder statesman person could have, you know. So it was fun, like seeing my friend be an old man, you know. Like Mike a year younger than me, you know what I'm saying? And like our energy, our dynamic is like I'm the older.
You're the Smoke of this relationship in some way.
I ain't gonna cop to that. Like, but to see him, you know, like to see him just embody like the aura of somebody who's like been through, you know, so much more than the other one, even though they was basically in the same places at the same time, was it was a profound subtlety there to his performance, but it was really dynamic. Yeah. You know,
because one of the things we talked about with the twins was like, all right, you know, we like the idea of other people didn't know which one was which at first from a distance until they got up close. You know what I'm saying? Even with Slim at the train station, like, which one is you? Are you this or you that? You know what I'm saying? You Slim, you just that Smokestack, you know what I mean? Like, and then like Mary too, like there is this bit of like who's who. And we like that mystery to him. Until you got up close and then you hear them talking, and then they put it together like kind of like mid-conversation, and we like that kind of like people didn't know how to approach them.
Yeah. But what was crazy? What I will say though is like so there was a script I wrote, and then there's a movie we finished with, and like a lot of that should be cut out, and it actually like worked better in that because we used to have in the screenplay, Slim is like, hey, which one are you? And like that idea was a part of where I was aiming at. But like what I love is where we landed. Now Slim doesn't ask that in the movie. And what it implies is that he and Stack are close. You know what I mean? Which I liked. Like I liked that Stack would be closer to this extremely flawed man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like cause I could see a world where Smoke and Slim are not as close. you know what I mean? Like, cause Slim's an alcoholic like their
lifestyles,
but like an alcoholic like their father was. You know what I mean? And a musician like their father was. You know what I mean? Like I could see a world where Smoke is like more distant from Slim than maybe Stack is. So it was like ever evolving as far as like the movie, like that, and that's what's so interesting. Like for me, I'm a writer director. You know, I'm writing these characters, thinking about these characters before I even tell Mike I'm making a movie. Sometimes, you know what I mean? Because I want to present it to him the same way, like a good cup of coffee.
Yes.
Like it's ready for you, right? You know what I'm saying? But there comes a point in time where the actor becomes the expert on the character. You know what I mean? Like the twins are his now. You know what I'm saying? Like and the twins belong to the movie. You know, like the movie, what Delroy does, what Mike does, and it becomes like it gets to the point where I can't force that no more. If it's saying something that's, you know what I mean, that's different. You know what I mean? Even to, you know, one thing we were talking about, bro, is Stack being a liar.
Yeah.
And Smoke always telling the truth.
Yep.
Like before Smoke will lie, he just won't say nothing. You know what I mean? Like, and those decisions, you can see like it's some questions that Annie might ask him that he won't answer. Cause it's like y'all instead of lying to you, I'm just not gonna say anything. You know, like, and for me, and watching the movie, like I'll never forget, bro, when you and Miles were improv
Upstairs?
in the car.
Oh, in the car. Yep.
In the car, like
Stack.
Bro, brilliant improvisation from him as Stack. Miles is great, but your improvisations as Smoke and Stack, a lot of Smoke's improvisations were nonverbal. You know, like I remember the choice you made where where Dave Maldonado as Hogwood calls Smoke the N-word. Like while they both are dying. You know what I mean? And Smoke, because you asking for a light. You know, he asked for a seat. And like the moment felt empty. And then Mike asked Smoke was like, yo, I would just do this. And he just like reloaded. You know, he just reloaded like his
That's like, oh, for real?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, that's a Smoke play. And if you watch the movie, he doesn't even blink. Like he's just staring at him the whole time. And it looks like he's loaded this gun 1,000 times. Like he don't even have to, he don't even have to look at it, which is it's actually like a difficult loading mechanism, you know? But he was so in the pocket in his performance that it's just like toss, load, you know what I mean? And that was improv.
Wow.
But like nonverbal, you know?
And those are the few times that I actually could, especially when they're by themselves. I could improv a lot with other actors, you know, which is great. Whenever the twins are in the same scene, that's when the improv gets a bit challenging.
Right. Because you had to pre-plan sort of your choices.
Because I'm acting off of something that I haven't done yet. And those responses are kind of like baked in depending on what take we decide we're gonna marry ourselves to.
Yeah.
The ability to just kind of like try to premeditate and preset choices that I think are interesting from one brother's perspective versus the Smoke versus Stack, would have to talk Percy Bell, my twin double. He would have to watch me kind of almost dry run the other brother, Stack, of where I would loosely be blocking wise and kind of what I'm thinking and inflections and just kind of just in choices, whether it's the toughest thing is looks. If I want to like connect eye contact or like subtle moments between the two of them, to line that up was probably the biggest challenge. But if I did something on that side that I liked, or if I did something on Smoke's side that I enjoyed, I would always clock it. Yeah. Like for me, like where I would do it at, and I would, try to line it up on the other side. And a lot of times, I'm saying, more times than not, it was like either narrow misses or like spot on, like, okay, that worked. What's the technique?
What way you look is like a big conversation sometimes?
Yeah, because like, if I want to like match, like when they're at the door, when Remick pulls up, and there's like when they start playing, there's like sometimes a subtle look, between, Stack's kind of enjoying it a little bit. Stack's kind of finding this shit interesting, and Smoke like, nah, get the fuck up out of here. So there is a look between the two of them that they kind of have like subtly that I thought worked well for the moment. It kind of defined both of them, in their personalities. So the improv was something that I had to dry run, have Percy kind of lock it in loosely, and then I would jump back at smoke, rehearse that, you know what I'm saying, and get, everybody on board, get decisions and choices that we would make, shoot that as smoke, you know what I'm saying, lock in those choices, pick the take that we like, and then I'll switch over to stack, and then try to reflect off of and mirror those choices. And if I could fit, and if I was looking at the take of smoke, if there was something I did, or like subtle things, or just something super small, when I did go to the stack, when I switched over to stack, and I knew that was the one to complete the scene, I would try to match it on the back end. Yeah. I would try to connect something to smoke on the back end, and then I could actually make it work. So yeah.
Feels like a lot of mental gymnastics, or I've just had a lot of coffee right now. Good.
Get some more.
That means it's working.
It is. You had a lot on your mind to think about to play these two roles, and their backstories and how they react to certain things, how they react to each other. Can you talk a little bit about that preparation process? Where I've heard there were like some key phrases or things that you sort of came up with when you were developing Smoke and Stack. Can you share a little bit of that?
Yeah, like as we were working through, my dialect coach, Beth McGuire. She's worked with her for years,
and she worked with the cast as well. On their dialects and performance,
big time.
The rest of the cast.
Yeah, we've been working with Beth since Black Panther 1.
I heard.
And she got introduced to us through Lupita Nyong'o.
Yep.
And Denai Guerrera. She's a professor at Yale. So she did dialect work for us on Panther 1, Panther 2, and on this.
So on and so forth. I worked with her, Mercy, certain things. So she's somebody that knows the family well and definitely helps out. And this one needed that kind of work, especially with the some of the physicality, the way they walk, which I said a few times, but like Smoke wore, a size too big shoe, and Stack wore a half size too small, because I needed him to move around and feel different, just in his steps of and his fidgeting, like as Coog was saying, like. Stack's always fixing his shit. I'm always moving, but he's always kind of like, in the process of moving to the next thing. So the smaller shoes helped, and Smoke, with his shoes being too big, it kind of makes you not want to move too fast in any direction. You kind of like you're a little more, planted and sure-footed when you're stepping, and that was important to have in their bodies. But when it came down to working on chakra work and where their childhood trauma, came from and how they projected their voice. Smoke was in a much lower register, and Stack was in a higher octave. Like when we had choices of like who would go first, we always strove to have Stack go first, depending on the scene.
I find that interesting because I'm the oldest of my siblings. And Stack is younger than Smoke. So
Stack had more
I would
energy.
go first, but yeah, so tell me about that.
Stack had more energy. So for me, just like stamina-wise throughout the day, if I started off with more energy, I could start off with Stack, and I could lay into that. So by the time I started smoking the cigarettes and your voice, you know what I'm saying? Like it naturally like brings it down, and like, you know what I'm saying? And my energy would be a bit lower. More smoke, so it would be easier for me to do Smoke second. But it depended on the.
It was counterintuitive.
Yeah.
So
I
interesting.
remember that. I thought the same thing because Smoke's the leader.
Yeah.
But yeah, like and y'all doing that. Y'all did that chakra work too. But he would say, hey, like it's like if we do a whole 12-hour day, it's harder for him to turn around and be this high energy guy. At the end of the day, and the voice, because Stack's voice was at a higher register.
It's true.
The cigarettes would knock his
Get
voice
it all
down.
raspy.
Yeah, like and so it was hard for him to be sound like Stack.
Yeah.
If he had smoked a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
like that was
right.
But depending on what twin had the most agency, the other rules would override that. Like, okay, cool, if whatever twin went first kind of set the boundaries for the second twin, kind of like what I was talking about, the improv stuff.
Yeah.
So that would trump the voice register, and the fatigue.
Like it depended on the scene or the moment that they were in.
I had a preference, and then I had like, all right, well, what's the best way to get this scene done in the time we got, and that always overruled. But the key phrases that was super helpful for me to get their dialect and more their cadence.
Can I just pause for those who aren't professional actors?
Oh yeah.
What is a key phrase? What does that even mean?
Key phrase is like a phrase that you would use to help you your muscle memory of your voice and your vocal cords to get into register. To get into a cadence of my character.
Okay.
You know, so for Smoke, we started finding late 30s audio. And there was a few videos that we kind of used of like because we were blending these. It's really hard to find like dialect from that era. You know what I'm saying? Enough for me to like really latch onto. So we kind of Frankenstein some to make it feel of that generation. And Smoke and Stack, I found this older Southern woman. So yeah, that used some key phrases, and she was talking about flowers, and that felt very Stack. You know what I'm saying? Like,
do you want to play it?
Yeah,
okay, we'll play it real quick.
You got them?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, here we go.
Yeah.
Stack.
Yeah. So Stack's key phrases were.
Yeah.
Lovely flowers all my days.
Flowers all my
Planting flowers, my little child on up. I like flowers, and I don't like no flower don't bloom. I want it to bloom.
Yeah, like Stack had that energy to him, so I use those to kind of like just kind of have in my head that I would listen to as I'm switching from one twin to the other, or in between takes and stuff. I need to, you know what I'm saying, drop back into it. So, I would listen to those, and Smokes is a bit more.
Should I play it?
Yeah, go for it.
Ride horses, chop cotton and plow, hoop and holler, cut Somerset, do all this stuff. I come up the hard way. Been on a farm all of my days. Never been in no trouble.
The phrase was like, I never been in no trouble. You know what I'm saying? But I switched it to like, you always getting in trouble. You know what I'm saying? So there's little tweaks in there. Yeah, so those were super helpful. You know what I'm saying? And it was good to hear a bit of that dialect.
Yeah.
And from that era, and just how fractured a lot of their speeches were and their cadence.
That's incredible. It's like you're playing fictional characters, but you dug into, much like Ryan did for the story, dug into like real people, real history to bring them to life.
Yeah, because this is our history, like my family, my mom's side of the family's from Hope, Arkansas, my dad's side's from Shreveport, Louisiana. So being down there, and understanding that, we come from, our ancestry, sharecroppers, you know what I'm saying? And thinking about our grandparents, my great-grandparents, great aunts, and all that good stuff, like that was their reality.
Do you guys talk about that, your family?
Yeah, we dove into a lot of that. I mean, me and Coog, our families are similar in a lot of ways, and understanding that migration that a lot of us, have been through, and that's in our history. Just kind of talking through a bit of that and how we personalize it, how we could take those similarities and put it to the, to the page and to the characters as much as we could. And yeah, it turned into like a love letter for, as much as it is for his, his Uncle James, and his family with his connection to blues music and that history for me, my grandparents and great aunts, uncles that it's like a love letter to them. That was, they were in their late 20s and 30s, like trying to get it, trying to find their piece of relief and to find, something that's theirs in an era that told you couldn't have it.
Yeah. I just want to talk about one scene. Sort of a scene, it's like, maybe it's not as flashy as like the vampire scenes, but it's a scene when Smoke gets to town, parks the car, and teaches this young woman how to basically negotiate, right? Because he pays her a little bit to watch his car.
Can you tell time? And I'm gonna pay you 10 cents for every minute that I'm gone. Will that work for you?
Yes, sir.
No, ma'am. See, we talking numbers now. And numbers always gotta be in conversation with each other. You understand? You gotta negotiate. Now, 10 cents just won't work for you. Talk another number back to me.
50 cents.
20 cents. Best I can do. We got a deal? Good. Jump in.
Can you guys talk about that scene? Because it's I feel like it reveals a lot about Smoke, and it kind of comes back later when they're counting money in the juke joint.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite scenes. Because you see so much of Smoke in that small bit of time, you know, when he parks and pulls up, and he had just had a discussion with Stack about, you know, if they was gonna remember him or not, you know. And I think Smoke's fear was going there by himself without the other brother, and everything being completely different, and like not really, you know, getting the respect that he thinks he, you know, that presence that he needed to have, and so when he asked the girl, have you heard of Smokestack Twins? She's like, yeah, that's what I'm Smoke. It's like he kind of testing his own lore a little bit, you know what I'm saying, to see if he still got it.
Yeah, still does apparently.
And then I think it turns more parental, you know. I think foreshadowing a bit of the loss of his daughter, you know what I'm saying, and like, you know, maybe, you know, his daughter might have been a little bit younger than that, you know what I'm saying, at the time, but also giving her the game, the tools, you know what I'm saying, to negotiate. That's what you gotta do down there. You can't just take what somebody gives you and what it offers. You gotta like fight for what you think you deserve, what you want. So that moment with just time, you know, I tell time, and you know, I'm gonna give you 10 cents for every minute, and all that stuff was just beautiful, kind of a softer side of him that you haven't seen.
Yeah.
And then you're getting ready to see him negotiate and put that to work, and then you're gonna see him actually be the muscle, you know, all in like this little shorter bit of time. So you understand exactly who Smoke is really fast. Yeah. And then you understand who Stack is too, you know, what's going on with him at the train station. So yeah, that scene between the two of them was special. Yeah, it was good.
And you know, you've often worked with Mike on characters that were kind of like hungry, like need to prove something, or like Creed, or like Killmonger, really need to like kind of get the crown, and like they're hungry for something. Smoke's a bit different, different role. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that it was a fun character to write, but it was a really fun character to see Mike play, because Mike is very much like those other characters. You know, like I was kind of where he was at in his life, and the energy required, but it's also kind of who he is. Like he's a very, very ambitious person, and energetic and optimistic. So it was interesting to see him play somebody who's the opposite of all of those things. You know, and Smoke. You know, the idea behind Smoke is that he's not out to prove anything. He doesn't care what people think of him. You know, he's just gonna get what he feels like he deserves, and like that's the end of it. You know, and the idea was if it wasn't for Stack, he would be in that shack with Annie. Yep. You know what I mean? He would be there till he died. You know, like but he has this other part to him that is hyper ambitious and is saying, hey, what if we did this, or what if we did that, or we could go do, you know, and so he's going along kind of begrudgingly, you know, like, but because he is a realist, you know, he's going in a place that's you know, like hyper aware, and we would talk about them as being fully baked, like,
what does
you
that
know,
mean?
Like they're not evolving too much. They are who they are.
Yeah,
exactly.
As people.
Like this is who they are, and the other part about it too is like, you know, these are very bad men. You know what I mean? Like that's the part. Like they murderers, they robbers, they stacks of pimp. You know what I mean? Like they are like the, you know, you see these dudes cross the street, but yet and still, you know what I mean? Like they still human beings. You know, you know what I'm saying? There is still like a depth to that humanity, you know, and an innocence that's been lost a long time ago, but it's still remnants of it, you know. And so that part of it was really exciting for us to play with Mike, because he is an actor who you know, I think like a Tom Hanks, you know what I mean? Like where you put him on camera, you gonna like him. You know what I'm saying? He has that part of it. You're gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. So it was like, yo, how bad can we make these dudes? You know, like, you know what I mean?
Let's test that.
Yeah, let's really put it let's really put it to the test, you know, and see what happens. You know what I mean? And not just let them like not just see in their backstory, but actually see them do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
physically.
Yeah, like all the you know, you see Stack's lying constantly. Like he sends this woman that, you know, he loves, he sends her out to go, you know what I mean? And go, you know,
live this other life. And
Smoke kills a bunch, murders a bunch of people.
But he also just shoots some guy on the street. It's like,
no, totally, like, who he knows. You know what I'm
like,
who he knows, exactly.
Did Mike do anything unexpected? Because to me, that was, for Smoke as a character, you empathize with him, with that girl, teaching her, you know, that thing. And then, you know, a scene later, it's like, boom.
Every day. Yeah, every day. Like, I think a big thing for him, like, Smoke, I would say, was the most distant from who Mike is as a person. You know, like much more distant from, like, Mike not a pimp. He not doing, you know what I mean? Like, he not doing none of the things that, he never knifed nobody that I know of. You know what I'm saying? Like, he not doing the things that you know, like, but you have a life in Newark, bro. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna assume enough. You know, statute of limitations. But you know, like I think like his energy, his charisma, you know what I mean, his friendliness, you know, like and the fact that like you know, you meet some people who've been through like a lot of shit and they wear it. And it wears away at their friendliness. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a type of person who's like seeing so much that they aren't friendly anymore. Like, they're not saying hi, how you doing? It's none of, like, you know, like, it's like they're not making any effort towards making you feel comfortable. Yeah. And Smoke embodied that in such a way that was so impressive. You know what I mean? Like, it is Mike's natural thing as a person. He'll come to set, he'll say hello to everybody. The person that mics him, he's gonna make sure it's a pleasant interaction. You know what I mean? Like, it's a real subtle thing. He'll offer things. When he was Smoke, none of that happened. you know what I mean? Like it would be like a chill that kind of came with him in the room, and even like in his improv and like how he would, you know how he would move, how he would look at people. And it's a military thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they say, like, in the military, like you know, these guys, they constantly thinking about, you know, how they would kill you if they had to. You know what I mean? Like, and that's where Smoke is with everybody. He's looking at Hogwood like, if I had to kill this dude, you know what I mean? Which gun would I use? Which one would I pull? Would I do it here? Would I do it in there? Yeah. And as that like that first scene with Hogwood and the twins, as it's bubbling to the surface, Stack is realizing, oh, Smoke's about to kill this dude. you know what I mean? Like, his whole thing is like, how can I keep Smoke from fucking this deal up? Because if he kills this dude, my dream's gonna evaporate. You know what I mean? My dream of this juke.
Yes.
So
grown man money.
Yeah, so and then like Hogwood continues to disrespect him. So Stack the whole time is like, hey man, like, I'm gonna knife him if I have to, but let's get this deal done.
And you see, and we messed around with it because so Stack's circling him to kind of so Hogwood can't get eyes on both of them. So as like Stack beelines around to get his blind spot, Smoke's like, you know, Stack's just waiting for the final decision from Smoke. If he was if he's like, do I get the word or no? What are we doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there is that thing that we kind of discussed of like, Stack's gonna, you know, he gonna talk to you, he gonna get you going, and then while that is happening, Smoke is figuring out how to kill you, and that's kind of the, you know, one of the mindsets that I always have with both of them, and we apply it to every moment. It's just the two of them and somebody else, you know.
That's amazing. It's like split personality.
A little bit.
But still some kind of hive mind between the two.
And that was fun. You know, that was fun to blend those and find opportunities to show that contrast. But then that solidarity also, you know, between them. So it was a blast, man. So much fun.
Prox Recs.
I want to wrap the conversation with a segment we call Prox Recs.
Okay.
So this is where each guest, that includes you right now too, recommends something for the audience. It could be about your process as an actor, as a writer, director. It could be a book, a movie, a technique, anything that's sort of useful in people's kind of art and craft process as they listen to this and kind of absorb what you say. So, who wants to go first?
I don't. I actually forgot about the Recs, so I got to think about it.
It's all good.
I would say journaling. I'll give that up. I think in your own personal life, I think it's really good to journal, and write down, your dreams or, your literal dreams and your dreams that you have. You know what I'm saying? I think it would be good to journal as a whole, but when it comes to character building and acting, I feel like it's a good tool for me, an analog way to burn that into your memory, into your subconscious of like writing it down from your earliest memory as that character, to page one of the script. Wow. Is helpful for me, and I would recommend that to any actor, that needs to, or just in general for any project. I think it's super helpful, and it also gives you a time capsule.
Yeah.
You can go back and reflect on your process, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Where was I at? How was I writing? And then see how it evolved over the years and how you've grown from that.
Journaling, I love that. It's a great rec. What about you, Ryan?
I've drank like a lot of coffee and oat milk during the filming of this episode. So like, I'm gonna recommend the cortado as a drink.
Hey, I love a cortado.
Cause it's the cortado is
I couldn't tell you, I ordered it though.
Yeah.
Okay.
He'll know.
The cortado is equal parts espresso and steamed milk. It's lovely. It's a lovely way to have a little bit of calories with your espresso, but not completely overpower it. I wish I had made one today. I did not. But yeah, like big shouts out to all the coffee drinkers out there in the world, all the coffee drinkers that listen to In Proximity. Hey, give the cortado a chance. You know what I'm saying? Like give it a shot.
Give it a shot.
Yeah.
Give it a shot.
Ooh, I like that.
That's my Prox Recs.
That is. Great way to end it. Yeah. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Ryan, for being in Proximity.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
In Proximity is a production of Proximity Media. The show is hosted, directed, and produced by Paola Mardo. Executive producers are Ryan Coogler, Zinzi Coogler, and Sev Ohanian. Theme song and additional music is by Ludwig Göransson. Patrick Apino is our co-director and director of photography. Ken Nana is our sound designer and mix engineer. This episode was edited by Patrick Apino. The production team includes Celine Mendiola, Joy Wu, and Alexandria Santana. Follow us on social media at Proximity Media. For transcripts and more information, head to proximitymedia.com.